How we doing, y'all? We 5 by 5. Can y'all let me know if you can see me and hear me, please? A little bit hot out here. We just got some rain. Much needed rain, I may add. But it only lasted for about 20 minutes. What's up with that? DC Roscoe, I'm here, brother. I'm here for your viewing pleasure. Thank y'all for the 5 by 5s. How's everybody doing? Tony Lawrence, Stephen Crump, how are you doing? Oklahoma Jim, Mad Elf, Prepping Survival. Beautiful day. How are you doing? Milton Roots Grow Food, somewhere in West Texas. How are you doing? Thank you for making it. I'm just gonna pull this one up on the screen. I can't read it that far away. Gold Z Co 35. How are you doing? Red Dog, Minnesota Prepping. Cobra, what's up, brother? Michael and S, how are you doing? A lot of A Troop. I try and get him in when I can get him in. Um, no longer Mr. Consistent over here. I can't be. Life is life. You know what I'm saying? I got to take care of family matters first, but I ain't forgot about YouTube and I never will. What's going on, Ink Scars? How you doing? Handy Prepper, how are you? Windflower, Minuteman. Yeah, a lot of familiar names, a few that I see usually in the replay crowd. So how are y'all doing? What's up? Alabama Whitman, how are you doing? So all kinds of stuff to talk about on this live stream. Really, how it went down was, I was going to do a pre-recorded video, and a video premiere. How dare I, right? And I said, well, which topic do I want to talk about here? A lot of topics going on, right? A lot of stuff going on right now. I want to talk about some prepping today. I also want to talk about some boo-boo-ness that may be going on right in front of our eyes via the mainstream media and our own government. Kristen, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to slather them all together and we're just having a live stream, random live stream. So thank y'all for being here for the random live stream. If I can get tongue tied here. And I appreciate everybody that shot a thumbs up as well. This ain't a channel where I beat you over the head about that. Do what you want to do. But if you've done it, thank you very much. So welcome to the nation. I'm John, by the way, sweating out here a little bit. Again, it's hot. We're going to start with Iran. Hence the thumbnail art, hence the title. I don't even remember what I called it. Something about war is coming with Iran. Because let me tell you something. You will notice this with me if you were kind of sort of new here. When an event happens, I don't immediately jump on YouTube and start talking about it. Why? Because I don't know all of the facts. I normally wait a day or two until the smoke has started to clear a little bit before I actually start trying to talk about it. I get that first 24 hours, it's very popular. Everybody's looking for information. But honestly, in my opinion, that 24 hours is where a lot of misinformation happens because you have a lot of people talking about something they don't know about yet. You know what I'm saying? And to each their own, but I try not to do that here. So it's been several days now since we've had the event with Donald Trump. Pennsylvania, right, is where this took place. And the more that comes out about this, the more it stinks to high heaven. The more it just is rotten on the vine. You know what I mean? There's something not, we're not being told something or we are being lied to about a bunch of stuff because it just does not make sense. But now, the mainstream media has been reporting since yesterday evening. First time I saw it was yesterday evening. And let me see. Rip Curl, how are you doing, brother? So yesterday evening, I started hearing about Iran. Well, Iran, they might be responsible. I'm like, let me backtrack on this. How did we go from a guy that was more or less fresh out of high school with his daddy's rifle to Iran is somehow responsible? I said, make this make sense. So I'm digging around and now the story continues to change. The narrative continues to change. I'm sure that's going to come as no shock to anybody from our own government. So now what is happening is the FBI is saying, they had credible evidence weeks prior that Iran was planning this sort of event, and that Secret Service had actually been increased for all of the candidates, including Trump, which again doesn't make sense. Okay, because if you go back and you look at his Secret Service, he actually needs more of it. So I didn't see where they'd increased it whatsoever. But if you're in a heightened state of alert, everything I've been able to, I believe so, Forrest. I believe so. But we're getting there. Thank you for being here, by the way. Papa's Farm, what's going on? So everything I've been able to ascertain, this guy was not actually, the perpetrator was not actually on the grounds at the event, but he was very, very close, direct line of sight on another building top that was, I guess you call it sloped. I'm not a contractor, but you know what I'm saying. Kind of an A-frame. The crowd spotted him. They warned, authorities, the local authorities that were there minutes before this thing took place. Okay. There were counter sniping units already in position on other rooftops via the Secret Service. Okay. So there's no way they didn't see this guy on the roof, number one. If the crowd saw him, but Secret Service did not see this guy, and they have scopes and they're literally looking at rooftops and windows, perhaps, and they didn't see him. Something is fishy at this point. So, Secret Service, going back and looking at the video, and I don't want to spend too much time here, but looking at the video, they acted a little peculiar until the first shot hit. When Trump got hit here, then it seemed like all of a sudden Secret Service wanted to do its job. You know what I'm saying? Prior to that, it's like they were phoning it in. So, again, according to our own government, there was an increased Secret Service presence because there was a credible threat, once again, that Iran was planning something, which again, I just heard yesterday. All right. I don't know where Iran came from. I don't know what the credible threat was. I don't know that we'll ever know. But they found this guy with a cell phone and a transmitter, as they call it, found near the perpetrator after they took him out. I dug around and I found out, okay, cell phone, everybody's got a cell phone. The transmitter actually went to the explosive devices he had rigged in the vehicle. However, if you read some of the mainstream media stories, because I had to dig around to find that, some of the mainstream media stories would have you believe, like they're talking in a roundabout way, like he was in contact with Iran. And I'm like, they don't come right out and say it, but that is the picture that they are trying to paint. And it's like mainstream media now is beginning to pin the tail on the donkey. They're trying to pin this on the nation of Iran. And look, I'm not sitting here taking up for Iran. I'm not Iranian. I know they do a lot of bad things, but I don't think they were responsible for this. They have denied this outright. Now, the official cover story coming from the government is he took out, I'm going to try and pronounce the general's name. Was it Soleimani or something like that? And ever since then, during Trump's presidency, ever since then, they've been trying to get Trump. It's just too convenient. The timing's too convenient. It's just, there's something about this that is weird. Okay. And I'm going to give you my opinion now. Okay. This is speculatory on my part. I just feel like they're ramping up to go to war with Iran because I feel like our government, when I say NATO or I say the UN, I mean, let's call a spade here, son. We're shot calling both of them. We're heavily funding both of them. We're in charge of both of these entities. Okay. We got a lot of sway, if you will. It just feels like to me, our government has needed a war for a while. More importantly, the big bankers have needed a war for a while because, as we've talked about previously, economy's collapsing. They got to blame it on something. You got to rip it down to the foundation before you can build something new, being an all digital world. And I feel like they've been trying to goad Russia into war now for several years, and Russia just is not taking the bait. They're not going to fight us in a conventional war. They're happy to do the proxy war. The problem with the proxy war is you can't blame a crashed economy on a proxy war. We need a partner to dance with in a full-blown war. And we need to be able to, whoever the president is, and this is what's scary about this, okay? Biden will go to war today and probably not even know it, my opinion. But even if Trump gets into the White House, if he looks at intelligence from the government and he believes they put this hit out on him, I don't think he'll have a problem airstriking Iran. And again, the problem is if they're not guilty, now we're in a war for no reason. But we need a partner to dance with if we're going to have this full-blown war. Because again, banks need one. So we're just looking for a partner at this point. We're looking for a country to dump it off on. This is my theory. And it makes no sense. I mean, it truly makes no sense. You go back, they've released this perpetrator social media. It's obvious he hated Trump. Couldn't stand Trump. Made no bones about it. They said, but he's a registered Republican. Well, back during the primaries, a lot of liberals were registering as Republicans, if y'all will remember, trying to get Haley in rather than Trump. And so we have a lot of liberals who are currently registered as Republicans. It was a whole movement and everything. So I don't put a lot of salt into that, if you will. This was not a professional job. And if it were Iran, it would have been, in my opinion, much more professionally done. And hold on just a second here, guys. Sorry about that. I thought I had this beast plugged in, and I did not. It's like the battery's low, son. So it just doesn't feel like a professional job to me. And so I'm excluding all countries at this point. This feels like a botched attempt by someone within our own government, or the guy was a lone wolf. It's really hard to say, but if I were you, I would not buy the Iran story. I would not drink that Kool-Aid because I really don't want to go to war over this with a country based off of what we're told on mainstream media. That just feels 30 years ago. You know what I mean? With social media now, it's just like it's a different world, and I hope people see past the stuff that's going on in mainstream media. That's my opinion. Now I need y'all's help on this because the second thing I need y'all. Um, Thank you, Mike Linnes. Thank you very much. That is a Halo mug. For anybody that doesn't know, I don't know which game it's from or anything. It was on clearance. I bought it. I don't know that much about JD Vance. This pick for vice president, I really don't have an opinion on it right now because again, he wasn't on my short list. This was kind of out of the blue. They said that Trump was sold on Bergam, and that his two sons actually were pulling for J.D. Vance, and he decided to go with J.D. Vance for vice presidential candidate. Can anyone tell me more about this man? Because I'm going to list off. I guess, thank you, Daniel. I'm not sure. I don't watch his stuff a lot, but I know who it is. Obviously, I don't live in a cave, so thank you. Um, I wrote down like the basics that I could find online. Um, I know he's from the Rust Belt. He's from the working class communities. Um, in 2016, he was a very vocal never Trumper. Said he could not stand Donald Trump. However, he's a veteran. That's a very good point, Lord Eagle. I did see that as well. I can't remember which branch. I think Marines. But however, we're all wrong sometimes. And I did see interviews after the fact where he said I was completely wrong about Donald Trump. He um he said I looked at his body of work as president and I saw what he did as president, and I went from a never Trumper to one of his largest fans. I went over straight to his website and tried to pull up his positions on things. So he is totally against funding the war in Ukraine. He's been very vocal about this. He does not want to send any more money over there. He does not want the US involved in any way, shape, or form. For me, that's good. He wants to secure our borders ASAP. He seems to vote as though he wants to stop the flood of illegals coming into this country. That's a-okay with me. Um, he's on record. He believes that the last election was stolen. So take that however you will take that, but he's at least man enough to go on record and give his position and not fence ride on that. Um, he wants to increase tariffs, particularly on China. And this is a position that Donald Trump has also taken. So they agree with this hand in hand, it seems like. Climate change, not an immediate threat. He thinks we're strip mining our economy for no reason because climate change is blown totally out of control. He stands with and supports Israel. So, again, take that how you will. He does not want to send money to Ukraine. He's okay with sending money to Israel because they're a firm ally. Um, I don't really know where he stands on the Second Amendment, but I do know that after Trump picked him, he was applauded by the NRA. So apparently the NRA, they're huge fans of JD Vance. So somewhere along the way, he's done something the right way to protect his Second Amendment. Again, that's my assumption. I don't know everything about the man. He wants to end all DEI programs at the federal government level. I ain't got a problem with this at all. Just saying. And the other thing was Palestine. He has been the one really strong politician to stand up for the actual people that live in this community and to go against what was it, Norfolk Southern, I think. And he's pushing to get settlements for these people and has been since it's happened. So DEI, Grace Hill Granny, maybe I mispronounced it, I'm sorry. So that's what I know about JD Vance. Again, I really was not expecting Trump to pick him. It was out of the blue. um I kind of thought he was going to go a different direction. I understand why. He's a millennial, so he's going to, I guess Trump is hoping that he's going to hit the younger base. And he's also, again, he's from a working class family. He grew up extremely poor, military service, put himself through a very good college. Um, he's a self made man. And he's very, very liked and respected by his constituents, which also says a lot for me. Um, I almost thought that he was going to Paradise Acres, to be honest with you. I thought either it was going to be a woman or it would be Vivek. And I didn't really want Vivek, but I did want to see Vivek destroy Kamala Harris in a debate because I know he would have. JD Vance, will see. The moment this was announced, Kamala Harris challenged him to a debate. I think he accepted already. So we'll see how they do all of that. So we're going to get into some prepping stuff here and now. I've got 3 questions for y'all. Sorry, moderators. Speed round is here. If I can get them. If I can get them. All right. And then we're going to get into a prepping topic because I've grown cold on a prepping item. Very popular prepping item. It's just not for me anymore. And I'll explain in a minute. And I'll make an argument for that. So the first question I have, Red Dog is in here. I already know the answer from him. Are comms overrated or underrated? Are comms overrated or underrated? Me personally, my position is I want information during a big time event. I want to be able to receive information, but the people that I need with me are already going to be with me. So I'm not reaching out trying to communicate with other people. That's how I look at it, kind of a little bit overrated. But I can see where it would be important. It's the idea of being triangulated and people finding you. I mean, it's just not very appealing to me. Depends on the situation. That's a great answer. I don't even look at that as a fence riding answer. It does definitely depend on the situation. All right, number 2. This is a fun one. What is a weird prepping food combination that you enjoy eating? Like 2 prepping foods together. I guess you would consider these 2, um, my 2 prepping foods, Spam and the freeze dried, the reconstituted eggs, scrambled, specifically scrambled. Those 2 together, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, all day long. I can do that. I don't know if that's weird. I guess it would be weird to some people, but beans and rice, Red Dog. I don't know how weird that is. Squirrel and Tootsie Roll. No, I'm gonna have to pass on that. Nacho cheese, Doritos, and peanut butter sandwich. Nah, this stuff isn't weird. Come on, y'all. Spam and beans. Okay. Okay. Slim. I've been known to eat some Slim Jims in my day. Particularly when they're within reach. I can't stop eating, man. The original. I don't get into all the weird like the mild or the Tabasco or nothing. The weird comes later after the beans. That's also very scary. Ramen dry and peanut butter. Hmm. Matt, beans and cornbread, that's not weird. We eat that once a week, maybe twice a week sometimes. Ain't nothing weird about that, man. Banana chips and sardines. Wow. Apple butter onion sandwich. Yeah, I'm gonna probably pass on that one unless I'm starving. Finally, I know y'all know the answer to this. Other than YouTube, where's the best place to get real news? Where's your favorite place to go? And again, can't say YouTube, that's cheating. See what y'all come up with here. And again, you might be helping somebody else out because they might be looking for a place. I go to X quite a bit as well, Sugar Brand. Um, you have to vet everything over there because a lot of it is not accurate, but it's in real time. So you get the news before it hits mainstream media and is spun and everything. Newsmax, the beauty parlor, really? Well, um, Michael Savage website, barbershop. Okay, barbershop, beauty shop. Good lord, a lot of people are saying Newsmax, Newsweek. My own eyes, that is not allowed anymore. Gaslighting does not allow that. I'm just going to gloss over that one, Pilgrim. Infowars. Okay. There for a second, I thought that said CNN, and I was getting ready to have a mental breakdown, to be honest with you. Nothing is real. Somebody's chiming in. Well, there you go. A couple of rumbles in here. Brenda's saying rumble. Old websites, Gunslinger, if you can find them. Marfoogle News, I'm a fan. I don't watch every day, but we have corresponded occasionally, and he knows I'm a fan. He started the same way I did, as a matter of fact. And he told me this one time in an email. Started just like you did, had to upgrade my stuff slowly. People didn't understand what I was doing. They thought I was crazy. But now look at Marfoogle. Cool guy, by the way, off camera. So, prepping topic. Again, I've grown cold on this, and I'm going to explain in great detail why. Survival food. Yeah. How's that? Usually you click on a video and somebody's trying to sell you survival food. And I'm going to be sitting here today saying, you know what? I don't know if I would buy any more survival food. We have a bunch. We bought a bunch prior to the pandemic, and honestly, we bought a bunch more after the pandemic, or not after, but during the pandemic as we were catching it on sale. But let me pull the handwritten statistics up here. The average calorie count per serving. This is all of the main brands. This is going to be your Mountain House. This is going to be from your sporting goods stores like your Bass Pro and stuff like that. This is going to be Ready Wise. This is going to be Nutrient Survival, Oxen Farms, all of them put together. The average per serving calories is 250 calories. That's low. All right, for anybody that does not know about calorie count, 250 calories is low. All right, I'm just saying. So I said, I seen that, and I said, what does the human body need? Take the male, take the female, because they have different needs. Find what's in the middle. All right. And so for an inactive person who is basically sitting on bean bags all day and doing absolutely nothing, human body needs 1,600 calories. The active person, somebody who, let's say, during a collapse is going to be cutting wood, carrying water and stuff like this, 3,200 calories per day is what is recommended. So again, depends on your physical activity. All right. So I crunched the numbers, which y'all know for me, John, math is very hard to do, but I used a calculator here on the computer. So if you're bunkering in, and again, sitting on bean bags, maybe occasionally looking through the shades to make sure there's no threat coming or something like this, bunkering in, you're going to need 6.4, almost 6.5 servings per day just to keep your body going, just to keep your body functioning. Okay. If you are bugging out and you've got a rucksack on your back and you're going to God knows where, and it's going to be very labor intensive. And this is per person, okay? You're going to need 12.8, nearly 13 servings of survival food every single day in order to survive and be able to do the labor that we're talking about. So, getting into it a little bit deeper. All right, I ain't trying to hit y'all with a bunch of numbers, but at the same time, I am. It is what it is. A family of four that is bunkering in, you would need almost 26 servings per day. 26 servings per day of survival food for a family of four just to bunker in and try and survive. All right. And then I got to thinking about it a little bit further. I said, well, with the survival food, another big drawback is you need a lot of water. You need water for this stuff. You got to boil water in most cases and put it in there. It varies by brand, Barbara Fisher. How long does protein powder last? The last that I bought was around 2 years, I think. I don't have it in front of me, but it was around about 2 years from the time I bought it. So it's a simple numbers game at some point. So a family of four that is bunkering in, they're not bugging out. They need 200 ounces of boiling water per day. And I started thinking that's just to reconstitute the food so you can eat it. Okay. So I started thinking about that. And I'm like, if you're bugging in and you're in an apartment or something like this in an urban area, that's a lot of water. That is a lot of water that you're not factoring in for other things because you've got to clean your body. You've got to keep the place a little bit sanitary. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need water for other things as well. So I'm not a fan of survival food anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. Um, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me anymore. I know, again, I have a lot of it, but you ain't going to be hearing me on here trying to sell anybody anytime soon because the two things that you absolutely need in order to survive. All right. You need food and you need water. You also need, if you're bugging out, definitely the ability to build fire. But I'm saying if you're bugging in, yeah, that's 1.5 gallons of water a day, handy prepper. And you'll hear people all the time saying, well, you only need 2 gallons per person per day. You know what I mean? And that's such a lowball number because once you take the cooking water out of it, it doesn't leave you a lot. And again, if you're I like MREs better, Matt. They're just more expensive, but if I'm prepping in somewhere small like an apartment or a trailer or something like this, you don't have a lot of room for water in the first place. You know what I mean? You're doing good if you've got 3 or 4 24 packs of bottled water in some cases. That ain't gonna last very long if you're surviving solely on survival food. And when I look at the cost of survival food, the very, very low calorie count, um, canned food's just a better option. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Canned food is a much better option. Yeah, you gotta rotate it. Yeah, it only lasts a couple of years before you gotta start sniffing it and all that stuff. Emil, Cody, how are you doing? Welcome to the live stream. But for me, it's just a lot easier. You know what I mean? I can pull, a bag of and I'm not picking on them, but I can get some nutrient survival. I can get some lasagna. Okay. And then I gotta add a bunch of boiling water to it, and I've gotta let it reconstitute and all of this stuff, and I paid a lot for it, you know what I'm saying? Because 'Cause they're not cheap, especially that company. Again, not picking on them, but them's the facts right there. Or I can buy I know it's not extremely healthy for you, but I can get a can of Chef Boyardee lasagna. All I have to do is heat it up. I mean, you can even eat it cold if you're in that situation, so I don't know. Um Well, that's kind of hard, Roy. I understand. That's a great question. It's kind of hard for me to do because I'm not in an apartment. So, this would be like the blind leading the blind out here. But I just put myself, for some reason, my mind went to apartments and again, trailers or maybe you sharing a home with a family member and you only got a couple of rooms for your own stuff. Um, Not a lot of room to store a bunch of water up. So the water that you are storing, you're gonna have to make it count. So for me, it just seems like a better option to stack canned food. You know what I mean? Set up an additional pantry in a closet or something like that. That doesn't mean you have to rush out and do it all at once today, folks. And many of you are probably already stocked up. I'm saying if somebody's just getting into prepping, but get it as you can afford to get it. And it ain't no joke in Joe's economy. I totally understand that, but if you walk into a store, especially these days, and you see 10 cans of something for $10, check the date, make sure it's not running out in 2 months or something like that. And then, of course, you can eat it after the fact, but you want as long of a date as possible, right? I'm that dude. I'm the dude that reaches in the back on the milk and everything. I ain't got no shame. The bread, hey, I'm going to the back. These long arms is getting it. But canned food, quality canned meat is not cheap. It's normally not. I can't believe where Spam and corned beef. I think we seen corned beef in a can. A regular size can. It was almost $5 when we saw it. I'm saying if you catch this stuff on sale, if a store drops the ball or they're just running an incredible sale, 4 cans for $5 maybe on something, burn them up. If you've got the money to do it, burn them up because you're still paying less at that point, that price point, than you would be for survival food. I mean, ready wise, as some people have said, is gruel. And I would agree with that. August and Farms, it depends on what you're eating. Ready Wise is gruel. It's the gruel of survival food. But even it is more expensive per calorie than canned food when you catch it on sale, even in Joe's economy. Don't be afraid to coupon. Don't be afraid to get this stuff and put it up as you can put it up. Not only is it easier, you open it, you can eat it if need be, you can heat it up, but it already has the water in it. That's the main thing. Whether it's a soup, I know with some of this stuff, tortilla soup is one of the main things in there. The mashed potatoes and stuff like that, the mac and cheese, but you have to add water to all that stuff. If you can get canned mac and cheese or potatoes or something like that, it's already got the water in it. So it's it's almost like you're double prepping. You know, you're stashing water under a bed or in the bottom of a closet or something like that to flush toilets, to brush teeth, to keep yourself clean. But at the same time, you're stacking food that has the necessary water already there. So it does make life a lot easier. Now you're gonna have to rotate it. You're gonna have to keep an eye on it. The only advantage I can think of when it comes to survival food is doing exactly what I've done. Just throw it up in the shade somewhere and forget about it. As long as the light's not hitting it nonstop and it's in a, in a decent, stable place, it's not gonna expire for 20 or 25 years or something like that. So that's good. But again, I mean, you have to eat so much of it. It's like 20 servings is actually only 4 regular servings. It's almost false advertising when you get down to it because, again, 250 calories, that ain't enough. That's not enough for a full-blown meal, and they're bound to know this, you know what I mean? They're bound to know it, but they want to show you that they're giving you more portions, so they're dropping the portions all the way down to 250. Man, you can't do that, especially in SHTF. You're gonna need to eat, you're gonna need to have water and stuff. So I don't know, I'll go back through and I'll look at the chat replay. Jonathan Hicks, how are you doing? Old Michael Jordan, Carrot Top, how are you? So I'll go back in, yeah, cans, and I'll read all the, the chat and I'll look for the replay crowd and stuff like this. But yeah, with the survival food, Roy, you can just throw it over there and forget it. With the cans, you do need to rotate it for sure. But the cans have the necessary water in them. You know what I mean? You open it, you cook it because you should be able to make fire or, heat it up in some way. And you eat it. And as simple as that. So I'm a big proponent of canned food after I crunch those numbers, and I'm just not into to the survival food anymore. I'm really not. I'm over it. I think it's overrated. But thank y'all for listening to me rant this evening. I'm gonna try and drop something tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be live or what'll be going on, but I appreciate everybody being here. I'd appreciate it if you shot a thumbs up or down on your way out the door, son. Y'all take care. God bless.